YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to another track guide for the Ferrari GT3 Challenge, or Ferrari Fix series as it's better known. This week we're headed to California for one of the most iconic tracks, Laguna Seca. Just before we dive right in, if after you're done watching this video you sit there and think to yourself, wow, I like that video, then please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to my channel, then that will be appreciated as well. And for all you returning subscribers, you the man. Thank you so much. Enjoy the track guide. So as we head down the start-finish straight, we're shifting up the gears. We're going to be in 5th gear as we approach turn 1, just taking a nice easy line, lining the car up on the outside of the track, and we'll look for our braking point. The number 4 board is the most obvious and easy to see brake marker, however you can also use the curb on the right hand side as well, seeing as though that's where your car is going to be positioned anyway. You're right on top of it, you can't really miss it, just in case that 4 board gets knocked out the way. We're going to be braking hard all the way down to 1st gear. As soon as you start braking, you're going to start easing your car over to the left hand side, the inside of the track for turn 1. Our goal here is to get the car lined up on the inside curb. As we meet the curb, that's when we start to turn more and trail brake, to get the car pivoted and round this turn as tight as we possibly can. As soon as you're about halfway around the turn, start applying the power quite aggressively to try and unsettle the back end of the car, try and get the car turning a little bit more. Once again, you want to get the inside tyres over that curb on the inside, and then be careful as you're changing up to 2nd gear, you don't understeer wide onto the gravel on it. And immediately into turn 2, we're in 3rd gear. As for a braking point for turn 2, I like to use the dark marks on the curb. Once again, you're going to be on the curb as part of your racing line, so you are going to see them, you're going to notice where they are, and you're going to brake gently down to 2nd gear, trail braking all the way through this turn. Just going to stop it here. As you can see, I clip the red sausage curb on the inside, which isn't great, however I get away with it as I modulate the throttle accordingly, try and keep the car nice and stable. But the goal is to get as close to that sausage curb as you can, and when you're level with that sausage curb, that's when you put the power back on. Nice and simple. Corners coming thick and fast in this first section. We're already on turn 3. Once again, using all the curb on the entry. There's no real braking point that I use here. It's just in between the 1 and 2 board, and it's just a case of covering the brake a little bit to get the weight on the front of the car, get your car turning in a bit sharper than it normally would, and we're going to coast right up to the sausage curb on the inside. And once again, that's our key to go full power, using all the trap on exit again. Then we're quickly up to 4th gear, down the straight into the next turn. Braking point for this turn is very simple. In between the 2 and the 3 board, you've got this nice little concrete line you can see here, pretty much a universal braking point. We brake from 4th gear down to 2nd. As soon as we start braking, we begin to turn into the turn very gently. Because this is a heavily cambered turn, we can take a more shallow entry, and then as we get closer to our apex, which once again is the sausage curb on the inside, we begin to trail brake. Then as soon as we're level with that sausage curb, it's full power again, cambered turn with the full power, back end's going to stick, it's going to be lovely stuff. Then up the hill into 4th gear, immediately into the kink. You're going into it blind, you can't see the apex. For a braking point, I use the rubber or the dark spot on the curb. As soon as your car reaches that, brake quite sharply but for a short amount of time, and drop the car down to 3rd gear and turn in. All 3 of these things done at once will get your car nicely pivoting and almost understeering into the kink. If you've done it right, you're going to be heading straight for that blue and white curb. If you get it right, you're full power immediately as soon as you buy that sausage curb, up into 4th gear, up the Ryle straight, and we're headed into the infamous corkscrew. As for a braking reference, not that simple for this turn if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I find it's better to brake earlier and smoother for this because you're braking over a crest. I know a lot of people like to brake later. It's not what I'm into. I prefer to be smoother, make sure I nail that line. It's about this point where I start to think I'm going to begin braking. So braking gently. As you can see, as my car goes over the crest, I even lift off the brakes to try and stop the wheels from locking up. We're going all the way down to 1st gear, and the most important thing is to cut this first part, get those 2 wheels over the dirt on the inside, and then because you're in 1st gear going over a crest, be smooth with the throttle application and be careful not to cut the exit of the corkscrew. In this car, you're going to end up spinning. And we're up to 2nd gear and 3rd into this tricky downhill left. I find it best to keep this car nice and tight through here. As with almost any turn on Laguna Seca, you're going to aim for the curb on the inside. You want to use all of that curb on the inside. Do that. As we enter on our nice tight line, we begin to lift and trail brake just a little bit to get that nose turned in a bit more. As soon as we see we're lined up, we can put the power back on. As you see on this lap, I was a bit hesitant with the power application. I thought I may understeer wide, so backed out a little bit and then put it back on. Immediately after that downhill left, we throw the car over to the left hand side to line up for the second last turn. Braking point for this, the two board, you're going to be on the curbs as you're braking. Just nice soft trail braking to try and control the car, try and get that car on the curb on the inside. As you can see, unfortunately I didn't. Once again, full power as you're on the curb on the inside, and then we're already into the last turn. Braking hard at the two board all the way down to second gear, trail braking as we begin to get closer to the apex. Once again, we're aiming to just clip that red sausage curb and go full power as soon as we do meet that curb. Then we're up through the gears, heading to the start finish line to complete our lap in a time of 1:22.191. Thanks very much for watching, guys. As always, the uninterrupted lap is coming up next. See you in a bit.